at 10 online.
Okay, it's 10 o'clock. This is February 5th, 2025. This is the regular meeting of the Dillon County Court. Calling the meeting to order. We've established a quorum and will now have the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item of business, we will be entering into executive session. The Dillon County Court will now meet in executive session.
Okay, just a second. So they're gonna have to leave the room.
The executive session is held review. I'm going to start over. The Dillon County Court will now meet in executive session. The executive session is held to review attorney-client privilege communication. The executive session is held pursuant to ORS 192.660 to consider information and records that are exempt by law from public inspection. Representatives of the news media and designated individuals are permitted to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to please leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any deliberations held during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the executive session as previously announced. No decisions will be made in the executive session. All virtual members of the audience will be asked to leave the Zoom meeting. Zoom participants may log back into the meeting and will remain in the waiting room until the court reconvenes. In-person participants may wait in the hallway or downstairs in a conference room that's labeled DMV until the court reconvenes.
One thing,
We're convening into regular session now following a closed session. Item 3.0, additions and revisions to the agenda. I just wanted to make a brief statement and just let the public know a financial review was recently completed. We're happy to report that there were no material findings discovered. A press release will be issued soon regarding the financial review, and that should be issued within the next few weeks. I just want to make that statement. Are there any other revisions or additions to the agenda? Okay. That takes us to correspondence, public comment. I'm going to start with 3 pieces of correspondence that we received. We received a letter from Les Rourke regarding executive sessions, and specifically executive sessions titled Records Exempt from Disclosure, and he was encouraging the court to include the subject matter of that documents that are excluded. So that's something that we will need to discuss as a county court about whether or not we want to title future executive sessions to say which items are excluded from public disclosure, but we will address that based on Mr. Rourke's request. We have a letter from Marta Michaelo regarding a right-of-way application that is proposed before the Dillon County Court for transmission lines in the Dillon County right-of-way. It was included in the packet. You're here, I didn't know if you wanted to address your letter at the time you come up and speak or not. I wasn't gonna read all of the letters, I'm just gonna summarize. Okay.
Summarize is fine.
Okay, she was expressing concerns about the right-of-way application to be sure that it's a sound decision of the county court. And also a letter from Kimberly Davis, also expressing concern due to transmission lines in this person's concern of it being right in front of their house for this project. So those are the 3 pieces of correspondence. public comment. First person on the list is Marta Michelo. Do I need to come forward? Yes. State your name and your city and.
Marta Michelo, Arlington, Oregon. What I wanted to let the court know is that there's a group of folks that are coming together to work on what are we going to do about the Rock Creek Schoolhouse? How are we going to maintain it? Do we want to maintain it? How do we make sure it's a wonderful building built in 1912? We do a lot of effort with it. The Davis family has been terrific. Before that, Leo Ramsey loved it, absolutely. And now it's been sitting and not being used very much. However, we're really concerned, we still need to maintain it if we want to maintain it and if we could get funding for it. So there's some things that are happening. Kim Davis is actively working on getting us a 501c3 so that we can become a nonprofit. There's a lot of things that go with that. We have to have a board, have to have regular meetings, that sort of thing. But that is one way that we see that we can get some funding for it. We can get some historic funding perhaps for a historic building. It's the one way we can get some money essentially. There has been some wind farms that have expressed interest in helping, and that's really great. But until we become an actual 501c3, our hands are tied. However, we do have a meeting on March 8th. We're inviting everybody to be there. So I would like to invite the court to be there. That school represents a lot of things for a lot of people. There's been a lot of weddings and showers and 4-H meetings, and it stopped being an active school. The last year it was an active school was 1967. So our population of school attendees are aging out. I went there from my 1st through 5th grades myself, and then went into Arlington. So, you know, we're getting older, and so but we want to maintain it. We desperately need new windows. It's like, I tell people they go in there, don't touch the windows, because they just literally just fall out. And we need a new septic, we need new plumbing, we need the floors redone. We do have a good roof, but there's just things that have to happen for that building to maintain it as a viable structure, even if nobody's using it. I think it's the last school that is even there.
Do you know what year it was built?
1912, I believe.
Okay.
1910 or 1912. It's probably been 15 years ago now. I did put in a new furnace. And so that's really helpful. I'm personally paying the electric bill every month. Just because we want it to survive. So I am inviting everybody here to attend March 8th, 3 o'clock, Rock Creek Schoolhouse. Be there, have opinions. We're going to have cookies and coffee and talk about how we want to help this building stay the wonderful building it is. So
I agree. It's a
yeah.
building that's meant a lot to a lot of people over the
Yeah.
years, and
it
it's
has.
iconic for our county.
It really is.
Mhm.
It really is. And we don't have the Oleg Schoolhouse anymore. You know, it's the only one left. And
Mhm.
I think if you look around a lot of our neighboring counties, it's probably one of the only schools around that's still viable.
At our town hall meeting, one of the subjects was preservation of historic buildings.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. We'll talk about that next
Mhm.
week, perhaps at the Arlington
Mhm.
Town Hall.
Right.
So,
So
don't
don't forget to bring it up.
I won't, trust me.
Yeah.
I won't. So.
So you guys are in the process of getting the 501c.
Correct. Now, and the biggest issue is everything that's being done from a money point of view is all donation. Everybody is donating their time. Everybody just, you know, it's like I pay the electric bill. So it's just what you do. It's to maintain it. So we do want to come up with some ways to, because we probably will need to have an attorney help with that. What do we do to pay for that service from the attorney? So we'll need to come up with some fundraisers. I don't really want to do a GoFundMe because they take a lot of the money and like, we don't want to do that, but we could do fundraisers and such, but once we get the 501c3, that really opens it up to other possibilities, so. Yeah, but
Yeah, then people can use it as a tax write-off.
I'm sorry,
People can use it as a tax write-off.
exactly, right, exactly right. And so now it's just they're giving out of the goodness of their heart.
This isn't a question for you, this is a question in my mind. Does this historical society support other historic buildings that aren't, I mean, on site? I mean,
Right.
would they be?
They don't have any money either. They don't have any money to give. I don't think they work off donations and so.
And they're a 501c.
They might be able to be.
Are they a 501c3, Brooke?
Yeah, we're a nonprofit, and I mean, if
Yeah.
you guys don't get to that point, just come have conversations, and we can always be a potential financial sponsor.
Yeah.
So, like, to be able to apply for grants.
Right.
And they've
So-
applied for grants through Dillon County before.
Right, yeah, and that's one of the things that we'd like to be able to do too, is to, because we do have some projects that really need to happen sooner rather than later to support the building, so, anyway, so that's it. So,
Thank you.
yep. So we'll see y'all there, March 8th, Saturday,
I have
3 o'clock.
I want to make sure that, has everyone signed the sheet that wanted to speak? Today I have Shannon Kopic and Catherine Greiner, the only other two on the sheet. Okay? Shannon Kopic. Oh, sorry, you want to speak? But are you speaking in another way as opposed to the road committee? Okay, we got you on the agenda, thank you. This is just public comment.
I'm coming with Shannon. I'm tagging along. Since we're on the same thing. Catherine Greiner, City of Condon. Shannon Kopic, Condon. So I'm gonna start just briefly, is that after we came last time, I did meet with the Oregon Department of Revenue when I was in Salem a couple weeks ago, last week. And it's gonna be a long drawn out process. It's from a 1974 law. I think that definitely needs to be changed. It's not gonna happen in this session, so keep it on the back burner. But I think we've come to a request of the county court for the two smaller districts. So, what we found out is that there is an ORS. I don't think it necessarily pertains to this situation. It might be a little different. I think I got it. It's ORS 311.392.
311.
And what it is it basically allows the county court to give taxes to some of these taxing districts in advance. And so this is kind of what we're going to ask for the cemetery district and the fire district. And though I'm not a cemetery, I'm not one of their representatives, I did talk with Janet Griffith. And I just said, of the taxing districts in the South County, the rural fire and the cemetery districts are two of the ones that are hurt the worst by this appeal process. And so the amounts, I can give them to you, but I don't know if you want those really quick. Over 3 years, what has been held back from the cemetery district is $10,345.52. What's been held back from the fire department is $7,845.76. So the request is
That was 3 years.
3 years. It's about 4,000 each year for the cemetery district, about a little over 3,100.
We're about 3,100 right now. We started out at $1,648, I think, 3 years ago. And the last 2 years have been $3,100. That doesn't,
So I'm gonna finish really quick
Okay.
and then I'm done. What I would request is that if we could make these two districts whole now. And while the appeal process is going through in the next couple of years, if it takes, it sounds like it's close. But that's the request from what I think is more than fair to these small districts.
Just a second, Catherine, what was the number for the fire district?
The fire district was $7,845.76.
What about the city?
We collect us, the city of Arlington, the city of Condon, the clinic and the school. The school doesn't seem to have an issue with it. They get state school support funds. The rest of us collect fees.
Okay,
We're okay.
all right.
We don't like it, but we're okay.
Go ahead, Shannon.
So just, I don't know if you guys have looked at this or are aware of this, but I brought the last year's, 3 years stuff for tax collections. And when you look at what the tax collections are, the South Gillum County Rural Fire Protection District gets less in tax dollars than any other taxing district that is listed on here. These kind of dollar amounts really hurt us. It doesn't seem like a lot when you're talking about $3,100 a year. But when I talked to you last time, I told you that our insurance now is $19,000,
Right.
which is 42% of our budget. So when you look at that, it's 42% of our budget with the tax dollars we collect. We have a contract with the city of Condon. We're getting money from them. The ambulance service pays for the space in the building, so we're getting rent dollars from the ambulance service. And we do rent the building out. We have never rented it out to the county because the county provided the funds for the building. And we have never felt like it was right to charge the county rent for a building that they basically built for us. But we do charge other entities rent for the building. When you look at us, we get $51,000 was what we were projected to get 3 years ago. North Gillum Fire got $454,000. So when you think about taking $1,600 out of our budget compared to these bigger budgets, it's a bunch. I feel like you guys are here to support all of the citizens of Gillum County. And I really hope that I'm kind of putting this back in your lap because I'm hoping that you guys can figure out a way to make these small taxing districts whole while this is going on. Because we are not getting part of that $454,000 in tax dollars is not coming to this fire district on this end. If it was, we would be getting more than $51,000 in taxes. And so when you look at what's happening with the north end taxing districts, they're getting a lot of money, yet we are the ones that are getting injured by this appeal with the entities that are only in the north end. And so I'm really hoping that you guys can figure out a way to make this so that our taxing districts are not being injured. And we are the only taxing district that doesn't charge fees for anything. We have, everybody else can charge fees for things. The cemetery districts, I'm sure charges a fee
They
for,
do, but,
it may not be much.
it's gone down a lot the last 2 years. Jana did send me that information and I can give that to you. I'll just leave it with you. Is that they've gone from collecting $9,100 a couple years ago to they've only collected $1,600, which is good. Not very many people are dying, right? But they're not collecting any fees.
I say make a proposal and present it to us.
What type of proposal did you, just a letter
What you're
requesting
telling
this?
us verbally, put it in writing with your documentation so that we can make an agenda item on our under new business and consider it and have a chance to look at it before.
Okay.
So make it a part of the agenda packet. and-
Would you, any of you want to see something different? Would you just email Shannon or I, or both of us? If there's something in particular you want to see in this proposal other than what we have?
Well, right, I just want to see numbers and
Okay.
this is the first I've heard of a request and the ORS you reference and, the dollar amounts we're looking at.
The whole thing
So that
too,
we can budget for.
yeah, the whole thing too is,
And then
This-
it's just the two districts, correct?
I would say it's only the 2 districts. I mean, even the cemetery district, like you said, collects some fees. It's minimal. And they're running on a shoestring also. So I would definitely leave them in the mix.
And I guess,
Your previous one, you had some of the breakdown for everybody, I thought.
I do.
Yeah.
And I sent it to you. I think I sent it all to you. If not, I will resend it to all of
Would you
you.
resend that to me?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, yes. So, okay,
and I guess my thought with it is that we have not come and asked for operation money. The fire district has not. We did request grant funding when we were building the building and then the county generously gave us money. And at this point, all we want to be made is whole so that we can continue to operate the best that we can with the budget that we have, which is when you're taking $3,000 out of a 40-some thousand dollar tax amount, you're looking at what, 6% of the budget about.
Right.
So the last thing too is, I think as this goes forward, I mean, one of the things we've heard over and over again is it's making it fair that if someone doesn't pay on one end of the county, you're helping the other end out, or another, not one end of the county or not, but one taxing district to another. The thing is about it is, I asked, the collection rate for Gillum County taxes is 98.5 to 99%. That's not an issue. It's just a very archaic way, in my opinion. Computers weren't even around in 1974. This shouldn't be that hard, but it will be hard to try and make a change in the legislature.
Right.
This will help them.
I want to make sure that our assessor's involved in.
I talked to him this morning.
Okay, in it, to be sure that we are, I mean, because he's the expert in tax values and appeals, et cetera. And again, I want to reiterate that this appeal is through the Department of Revenue, not our assessor. And that's why it's, difficult to have any, local say in that, but bring your proposal and we'll definitely consider it.
Well, and I guess the county does grant funds to various entities for various things. We're not asking for more than what our taxes would be. We only want to be made whole for the taxes that are being taken away.
Right. Yep. Thank you. I
Okay.
can hear you.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else who has public comment? General public comment, anybody online? All right. Correspondence. We have waste management's tonnage summary for December. I believe for the year 2024, tonnage is up overall. We have a pro tem justice of the peace appointment letter from Justice of the Peace Carrie Hayter. And that document is presented to you. You have a treasurer's financial report for December 2024. And I'm just thinking here for a moment. I believe we need to, sorry about this, but I believe we need to move the pro tem justice of the peace appointment down to the consent agenda. So we're just gonna move that down because it's not general correspondence. It does need some approval. Is everybody okay with that? Okay, all right. Next, for public comment, we have agenda item, update from Soil and Water Conservation District, annual report for winners. Come on up.
Anya, did you get my presentation email?
You're getting tested on technology today.
Sorry. Thank you, everyone. Serb Winters, I'm the district manager for the Gillum Soil and Water Conservation District. Thank you for the opportunity to present on what we've been up to 2024. I'll let Anya pull up presentation. Yep. Okay. I think if you just at the very bottom, Anya, underneath yep.
Turn it.
Sure. Is that what running on?
Yes, please, thank you.
That help everybody?
Would help to approve the cost balance.
I'll do better. Talk louder. Okay, so I'm just gonna touch on what a SWCD is, because I'm not sure everybody knows exactly. And then TMDLs, which some folks might not know what those are either. And then major project efforts that we've been up to this year. Next slide, please, Anya. Okay, so think of SWCDs as like a special district, like a school district or fire district. We're non-regulatory, really focused on natural resource conservation. We're governed by a board of directors, just established under Oregon law to address soil erosion, water quality, other resource concerns. How are we funded? By state and federal grants. We are pretty much 100% grant funded for our positions there and the work that we do. There are approximately 13 conservation districts in the state that are taxing districts. We are not one of them. There are 45 conservation districts in the state. The Department of Ag with the state gives us capacity funding. So does Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board. What do? We really work with private landowners primarily, and helping them with conservation efforts on the ground by providing technical assistance, education and outreach. And our big role is bringing in funding into the county to do conservation work on the ground. And really, we're there to help Oregon meet state and federal environmental goals while balancing agriculture and community needs. So just real quick on the next slide, Anya. Here's our board of directors and our district staff. It's the best board I've ever worked for in my life, and they're wonderful. Oh man, he'll never let me get away with that. And yeah, we have a pretty small staff. Myself, Nori, Roger, and Jessica Gillen. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about TMDLs. That's total maximum daily loads. This has to do with pollutants in the waters of the state. And this all comes back to the Clean Water Act. It's managed by Oregon DEQ. There are designated management agencies to implement these TMDL plans, and the county is a designated management agency for TMDLs in Gillum County. So when you're thinking of TMDLs, the major TMDL in Gillum County is temperature. So that's considered a pollutant. If the water is too hot, it's too hot for biological organisms. The big goal is to reduce stream temperatures in pretty much all of the waters in Gillum County, lower John Day Basin altogether. So it is, these designation management areas are tasked with basically creating plans and implementing the plans to keep the temperature, particularly in Gillum County, low. And so that's a big part of our work. And basically we do this by riparian plantings, fencing off creeks, floodplain management projects. Next slide, please, Sonia. So a little bit of a timeline where we are and where the SWCD fits into the county, being the designated management area. 2019, DEQ contacted the county, needed them to update their TMDL management plan. The county contacted us, and we went and said that we could become a partner with the county. We signed an IGA with the county in 2020, May of 2020. And since then, we've been providing annual reports to DEQ. Right now, I am currently updating the TMDL management plan for the court's review sometime in March. And so I'll present that to you shortly. And then we give that to DEQ and they approve it. So every 5 years, we need to update that plan. And through this IGA, the county gives us approximately $50,000 annually to continue our work with stream, keeping the temperatures down and things like that. Next slide, please. So I'm just going to go over some major efforts, how we are implementing the TMDL management plan in the county on behalf of the county court. So our first two bullets here are big funding opportunities that we've had since around 2019, 2020. That's the Regional Conservation Partnership Program and the Focus Investment Partnership Program. The RCPP is funded through the Natural Resources Conservation Service, which is federal, and then the Focus Investment Partnership Program is through the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board through the state. The RCPP is approximately $4 million. The FIP is $12 million that is broken up into three geographies, which I'll show. I'll talk about open solicitation grants through the state, talk about some place-based planning efforts through the Oregon Water Resources Department, touch on our Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program, small grant program, and then some county-centric projects that we're working on. Next slide, please, Sonia. And stop me at any time with any questions. I'm trying to go through this quickly. Okay, so the Regional Conservation Partnership Program, as I said, is an NRCS program that is focused on native fish habitat, but we also have an uplands focus. So through this program, we're really looking at juniper control, annual grasses, fencing, and then also they are helping fund our BDA projects, which is a beaver dam analog, which was also called process-based restoration. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But again, this has started in 2020. And now it's 2025. We are in our last year of an RCPP. We plan to renew this with NRCS. I know right now with the federal government, things are up in the air. We're not sure how things are going to shake out, but just talked with the NRCS basin team leader yesterday. He seems, once the dust settles, we can start talking about renewal. So we'll probably be asking for another $4 million in 2026 to continue this work. Talking about expanding that out into the Rock Creek watershed, which is right here on the right is the map, which is Butte Creek, 30 Mile, Ferry Canyon, and Hay Creek. We'll just expand into Rock Creek if it works for everyone. Think Lone Rock, Olex areas. And then we're also going to revisit our practices there, the kind of projects we can do, making about more virtual effects type things, which I'll touch on again. Next slide, please, Logan. So just some quick numbers on the RCPP. This is a partnership between the SWCD and the Natural Resource Conservation Service. These are the number of contracts that have been done through the years with approximate contract values. So these are payments going to Gillum County producers to make natural resource improvements on their property. We have about $570,000 left. Right now, NRCS is ranking those applications. We got 24 applications for 2025. And we'll wrap those up this year and then start our renewal process. On the right is just a good old fashioned spring development project with some nice looking draws. Next slide, please. Okay, folks, investment partnership. This is an Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board initiative. Again, steelhead focus. See a pattern here. A lot of our funding comes focused on steelhead habitat. Since 2015 or 2020, I'm sorry, we've done 15 projects through this initiative for about $2 million. Think beaver dam analogs, steelhead habitat type projects. The final offering for this, which is also ending, is actually today when I get done with this presentation. I'll go back to the office and hopefully put in one more application here. But again, we're going to try to renew this funding source, probably for maybe $15 to $20 million for the state. The John Day Basin Partnership is currently working on drafting that application, which will be due first part of 26. I'm on the steering committee for the John Day Basin Partnership as the conservation district kind of representative. So right now on that map, you can see the three geographies that are priority geographies for this initiative. The green to the west is a Butte 30 Mile project area, which is where we've been getting our funds for Gillum County. The other two are Middle Fork, North Fork. I'm hoping that we continue these same priority geographies and we can still continue to have access to this funding, but time will tell as we prioritize. Next slide, please, Lydia. So just real quick, folks, investment partnership, what we've been up to in 2024. We have this 30 Mile monitoring phase 4 project. We're really looking at smallmouth bass influence on steelhead in 30 Mile. This is indicative of the whole John Day where we have smallmouth bass moving into the tributaries and consuming thousands of steelhead. That's a big partner is ODF&W. ODF&W is finally admitting that that is an issue through our work through this initiative. Also, we are working with the BLM on the lowest 10 miles. I'll show a map here shortly about what that looks like. But that has been years in the making. We are finally getting work done on the BLM that we're all excited about. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on two projects, the 30 Mile hydrologic assessment and the middle 30 Mile restoration project. The hydrologic assessment is really kind of looking at where these streams are drying up It's happening through all of our steelhead streams in Gillum County and the John Day Basin. Trying to learn what's causing that and can we actually do anything about it. The second one is the Middle 30-mile restoration project. This is again is the BDAs that we've been up to. I'll show you a short video of what those actually look like. But this is kind of the next project for 2024. It was funded in 2024. We're hoping to implement this summer. And that's 92 beaver dam analogs and 45 post-assisted log structures, which are really just mimicking beavers in the stream systems. So next slide, please. So I'm going to talk about the hydrologic assessment real quick, and this is a little complicated. I don't fully understand it, but we're working with Oregon State University, Dr. Herzog, and his grad students. Here's a map of the 30-mile watershed. The 5 dots on there are stream gauges, the temporary stream gauges that they put in the 30-mile watershed. I'm going to talk about the 5th stream gauge there, which is just upstream from the Highway 19 bridge. And so in the orange are what we call losing reaches or stream segments that are going dry every summer that we know historically did not go dry. And so we're trying to find out what has happened.
That's kind of yellow to me, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'll make sure.
Yeah. And so I'll talk about those 2 reaches in particular with the next slide, please, on it. Okay, so this is where it gets a little complicated, but the bars on this graph are those stream reaches in between the stream gauges. Now, think of each one of those stream reaches as a bathtub that is full of gravel. So, and the lines coming across the graph are the flow that is happening at that 5th stream gauge that is upstream of the Highway 19 bridge. So what we can see here is on the left is cubic feet per second. So that's how much water is flowing through that one particular stream gauge. And if, in order for the number 2 bar there, which is that big long losing reach, there needs to be approximately 4.5 cubic feet of water flowing through that number 5 gauge to keep water on the surface towards the mouth. And then number 4 is that other losing reach, which we need almost 1.5 cubic feet of flow coming through there. And as soon as it goes below that threshold, that's when those stream reaches go dry. And you're wondering maybe, why is this important? Why are you trying to figure this out? Well, these folks are going out there with like ground penetrating radar. Think of these bathtubs, or think of the floodplain as bathtubs full of cobble. And the bathtub full of cobble is the floodplain. It needs to be filled up subsurface to a certain level to where it actually comes on, where you can see water in the stream. And so we can see through the study that we can get surface water back in stream reach number 4 way easier than stream reach number 2. We only need in stream reach number 4 really 2 more gallons to be flowing through that 5th stream gauge to get water on the surface. So that gives us hope that we can actually get water on the surface on reach number 4. Reach number 2, we don't know yet, probably not. And if we could, should we spend the amount of resources there? So these are all questions we're trying to figure out through these studies. I find it's just extremely interesting. I know it's complicated, but if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Next slide, please. So this is a kind of what we've been up to for the last few years with this process-based restoration. Now, I wanted to show this map because this is extraordinary, I think. And not just because of what the SWCD's been up to, but what the private landowners in Gillum County have been up to. This map shows, you can see the black line to the south. That is in Wheeler County. Now, as we head downstream through the kind of yellow, tan, purple, red, blue, and green that is heading downstream, this is 9 different private landowners that have let us come onto their property voluntarily and install beaver dam analogs. We're talking about 30 miles of stream. The lowest 10 miles is BLM that I mentioned earlier. It was easier for us to get work done on private land and than it was on BLM. We're finally working there, but there needs to be a huge shout out to our private producers, agriculture producers that are letting us do this work. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this. And I can't think of any place else in the West where this type of participation is happening, and there are a lot of eyes on this watershed because of this. The American Fisheries Society annual conference is in Bend this year, and they're having just an entire session on 30 Mile and everything that's been happening there. So this is, everybody in Gillum County should be proud of what's going on here. It's really, really, like I said, extraordinary. Thousands of structures have been put in through here. Next slide, please. We're going to try to play a video and hopefully it works. Just want to show you real quick what these things look like. So this is at the upper end near the Wheeler County border. And you can see in the stream, these are the beaver dam analogs. So basically a fake beaver dam. This just got planted. Sorry for the choppiness of it, but this just got planted. It's been fenced. This is really going to be a showcase project, and I'm going to show you next kind of the other things that we're up to. But you can see them going across the stream. We're really just shaking up the stream system here, providing fish habitat. Beavers used to be out on the landscape. There are very few of them anymore. We're happy to report that downstream of this project, where we actually have vegetation, the beavers have moved in. We have videos of them cutting down cottonwood trees, building dams on top of these fake beaver dams that we've made. With the idea, we want this to happen throughout the whole system, because then we don't have to go back and spend money to make these. We can just have them maintain them for everyone. So, and we're really lucky that we can get this done, that the landowners are acceptive of these rodents out there dinking around in the creek, and they're just doing really good things. We can go to the next slide, please, honey. Okay, sorry, I'm going very fast, but a lot to cover here. Open solicitation. This is also through the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board. On the table here at the bottom is kind of, we have 2 times every year that we apply for grants to the state. And right now we have 13 open grants through OWEB. In 2024, we were awarded 6 new grants for around $660,000. From 21 to 24, we got over $4 million from the state. Our shop is really good at writing grants. We're really successful getting money into the state for the people of Gillum County, and I just wanted to showcase that. Next project, please, or next slide, please. This is an example project that is really kind of our bread and butter. So that video that we just watched was in-stream work. I talked about fencing things off, plantings. We have these fake beaver dams going in, and that's in the green on the right-hand side of this map. This is what we call the Comstock Basin Livestock Distribution Project. So why I want to showcase this is we have our funders that really want to fund in-stream work, right? It's all about the fish, but we also are an agricultural producing county, and it is the first thing that we're trying to enhance, right? So we get funding to do this in-stream work, but then we go to our funders and say, well, what about the agricultural side of this thing, the production side? So with this project, we also asked the state for cross fencing to tear out woven wire fence that's not good for antelope and mule deer crossing through there, and then some extra livestock watering systems. So this here is a showcase project. We've pretty much gone through the whole ranch and put a lot of good practices on the ground that help everything from the fish to the cattle. And this is the kind of thing that we're trying to do every day at the SWCD. Next slide. And this is kind of zooms in so you guys can see it, but there's a lot going on there, and it's a great project. Again, virtual fencing program development. We're going to be back in March to give you a full update on everything after the county made the investment on our virtual fencing program. But this is, the county graciously made that investment. Since that has happened, the SWCD has written 3 grants to get more funding. This particular grant is $110,000. We have another $50,000 grant that has been submitted. And then I'll go over our FEMA application, which is about $1.7 million, which is all kind of tied in with this virtual fencing program.
Herb, is there other counties doing the same thing right now, or?
They're watching us. So we were part of a workshop last week that was hosted by OSU in Ontario, but we kind of set up a satellite viewing up at the fire hall in town. And basically, since the district owns 10 of these towers now, and we are trying to figure out how we can increase our early adoption of the technology. We have Sustainable Northwest as a partner, which is a nonprofit out of Portland. They just flew a job position that is specifically to help us develop this program. We interviewed folks over the last 2 weeks. Should select someone in early March that is basically going to be helping us develop this. To answer your question, the model that we have come up with for this virtual fencing program is probably going to be the ones that folks are going to try to emulate across the West. Where we, like I said, we own these. We are actively working with several different partners, with OSU, the Eastern Oregon Ag Research Center. And I was kind of kidding, but really folks are seeing how this works out for us. And we're all very excited. We have all the right players. And I'm excited to give you a more robust update next month. Next slide, please. Again, going back into the fires, we have what we call the John Day Basin Post-Fire Technical Assistance Grant. On the map on the right are all the fires that were in the John Day Basin this summer. Again, extraordinary, like almost an eighth of the John Day Basin burned. So with that, the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board created a special funding pool to help with all these fires. And the partnership did something that's unique. Got all the conservation districts and all the watershed councils together to put in a $650,000 request. Now this is because so much acreage burned, and it's such a complex issue. What we're using this funding for is getting the Forest Service, the Oregon Department of Forestry, like I said, these watershed councils and SWPDs all together to look at all these different fires, combine resources, and come up with restoration plans across the basin for all of these fire footprints. 10 years ago, this wouldn't have ever happened. And I'm not going to say it was smooth, but we did all come together, and this is going to be, again, another model for the state to look at, where we're all working together to figure out what we can do following a really unprecedented fire year. Next slide, please. Place-based planning. This is a Oregon Water Resources Department initiative. We, the Lower John Day Place-based Planning Group is another pilot, one of 4 in the state that we initiated. This is just an update for that. We've been doing this since 2016, but we were asked by some state representatives to put together a water package for the Lower John Day. And through this, I don't know if this is going to be funded, but we put the ask in. It's for about $1 million. Some of it is for capacity and outreach. That is for the group to continue working to basically work on water resources in our place in the Lower John Day. And then again, with this is data monitoring, 30 Mile Creek. I talked a lot about our the research that's going on there. We're asking for more funding to continue that because we think it's valuable. Water conservation, we have folks that are getting letters from the Water Resources Department that they're required to have flow measuring devices on their pumps along the John Day River. There is some funding there to help them purchase those flow measuring devices. They're about $2,000 a piece, with some producers having 10 or 13 pumps. That's a huge expense. So we are asking for more funding from the state to help with those devices. Another smaller project is to help with some flooding and spray. And another project kind of in that package is to look at fish passage barriers in the west branch of Bridge Creek in Wheeler County. Again, this is all the Lower John Day initiative. So those are taking place in other counties. Just some things we've been up to. Next slide, please. I always have to give a plug for the Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program, which Roger Lathrop administers for our SWCD, but this is an older program. It's been around since 1999. We feel it's a valuable program and continue to promote it. 2024, we've had 3 contract renewals. These contracts are through the Farm Service Agency, for those who don't know about it, to basically have use exclusion along the creeks where we fence things off, plantings and things like that, and 4 new contracts this year for about 100 acres. Next slide, please. We also have our small grant program. This is administered by the Watershed Council, East John Day Watershed Council. These grants are small. We try to focus in the north end of the county where we don't have these other large funding pools. So they're for $15,000. We usually use them for spring developments, cross fences, and juniper projects. So this is what we accomplished in 2024. We currently have 9 small grants open with the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board. Next slide, please. Lower Willow Creek Managed Aquifer Recharge Feasibility Study. This is an effort down at the lower end of Willow Creek. The county has invested in this project also $11,000 of the $105,000. Just as a reminder, this is trying to perform a feasibility study to see if during the winter months when Willow Creek has an ample amount of surface water, can we safely pump water back into the aquifer for storage for irrigators in the summertime. So this is going to be a phased project. We have GSI that is the consultant on this project is being pretty much ran through the Morrow SWCD, but we are a partner. We are going to be meeting with landowners in March to go over this project. We don't know a lot yet, but we're just, like I said, just starting that study, and I'll be pleased to bring more updates in the future on it. Next slide, please, Sonia. Lone Rock Wildfire Mitigation Project, I alluded to this. This is a post-fire grant that we're putting in through OEM and FEMA. Came to the court a couple weeks ago asking about this. The ask is for $1.7 million. These are just some metrics. Out in the Lone Rock area, a lot of that juniper burned, but there's some left, and we have an opportunity to really knock it down and get a handle on the juniper in that area, or really the juniper in Gillum County. So roughly 2,000 acres in this grant for that, 1,000 acres of chemical treatment for annual grasses, biomass removal, where we have a whole bunch of trees that are falling over. That's a fire risk also. We want to get those out of there. But FEMA will be paying for 75% of this. We will be writing, again, OLED grants to make up the 25%. We say only 25%, but we're going to shoot to do a dollar for dollar amount with the state. So we'll hopefully bring in even more funding into Gillum County through this project. One more slide, please. Okay, this is just another plug for our annual meeting, which is March 11th at the Parish Hall here in town, prime dinner. We have Dustin Hebert coming from NNS Tractor to pretty much give technology and agriculture presentations. Think drones, think reduced herbicide use sprayers, maybe some, mostly drone technology stuff we're going to try to bring, get some info for our producers. And I think that's it. So sorry I was going really fast there, but that's what we've been up to this last year.
Great.
Thanks. Thank you.
So, I have a question though.
Yes.
The aquifer part, when you're talking about filling the aquifer,
Yes.
is that the same project that went to the court
It started
a
at
few
the board,
years
yes.
back? Okay.
Yep, and now it's basically it is again another water resource department project through their feasibility grant program. And Morrow SWC is the applicant and is administering that grant. And so we're just a partner there. But what's exciting about that for us is what we learned in Willow Creek. We can extrapolate that information out into Rock Creek. So maybe if that works in Willow Creek, we might be able to do something similar. The only problem there is it's very expensive. If you're pumping surface water out back into the aquifer, there's a lot of safeguards that you have to do to make sure that you aren't contaminating that water somewhere through that process.
Thank you.
The passion for what you do is wonderful.
Thank you.
Very lucky to have you, all that you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yep.
And your whole team.
Thank you. Yeah, they're great.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is update from Gillum County Road Committee, Dewey Kennedy and Frank Betancourt, and whoever else is here with you can come on up if you'd like. And we can pull more chairs up if you need to. You're just here for moral support, or you're gonna come up? Okay.
Okay, so I'll do it for you. We have Frank Betancourt, Condon, Oregon, and Dewey Kennedy, Roadmaster. Go ahead.
Okay, mostly what we have is figures. We spent 2 years studying this and doing what research we could. And we've come to some conclusions that is, we hope will help Gillum County. Gillum County has 428 miles of county road. We only have 133 miles of paved roads in Gillum County. And we have, through our research, we found that, if any paved road they'll pay itself back in 10 years of maintenance on a gravel road. Our gravel roads are impossible. They're wore out. They're down to where you can't really, there's nothing to work with. There's no material or anything left on them, most of them. They're getting down now to where it's going to be terribly, terribly expensive to do anything about them. The roads are very important to the people who live in the country. It's very important to agriculture. And I think that it would be a huge benefit to Gillum County if we had better roads, because there's buildings and housing and things out in the country that's not being used. And some of it is because of our roads. They're just too hard to travel on. The road department, the advisory committee is recommending to the county court that the county needs at least 2 more people on their payroll. They're a little short on help, and they need a larger budget to keep up with this paving project. That's going to be, the longer we wait, the more expensive it becomes, and the more it's going to cost. In the last 24 years, we've only paved on an average of 4 miles a year. That's just not going to cut it. We're getting farther behind all the time. We're probably 40 to 50 years behind now. We need to do these things quickly. The longer we wait, the more expensive it's going to get. It's like everything else in this world. The more you put it off, the more it's going to cost you. We need those things, and we need them as quickly as possible so we can get these things done. The increase in budget is very important to all these projects, and our roadmaster will over time, he can figure out those figures. We can't do that because we're not there with him every day. And I don't think any of us want to be. That's kind of it.
Okay.
The biggest issue that I have with the road department is no dedicated source of funding. We lost our yearly funding package. Now I get the money from the state, from the House Bill 2017, and our motor vehicle license and gas tax money, and then any other money. Then I basically build my projects and come and ask the court for funding. There's not so I can't budget until I basically come in.
Any emergency or failure of equipment or anything that happens during the year, he's just dead in the water. We're really not serving the people of Gillum County.
Is there a road plan? Is there like a 10-year road plan that's documented that says that this next year, our plan is to proceed and pave this section? Or is there a ultimate plan for getting them all paved based on a timeline?
Every year I come to the budget committee with I call it a working road plan, which is basically all the projects that we can do with cost estimates of all of those. Nothing's set in stone just because of materials that are available, where we're working, the weather, just other things that come up. But yes, we have a working road plan, I call it. I have a crusher plan, so that I can try to keep the crusher out ahead of us as we do these projects. So I have material available when we are. Equipment replacement, I try to put that in every year. as our stuff wears out, try to keep it more up to date and stuff. So we have yes, there is a plan. It's nothing's set in stone.
Everything depends so much on the weather and the availability of the equipment. We never know what's gonna happen with anything.
Do you, so with, I understand without a amount to work on every year to dedicate towards paving or
Right.
improving the gravel roads. I guess, would it be hard to come up with, okay, if you were to get that funding, okay, this is what we're gonna do, like, over the first year, second year, identify the worst of the worst, I guess.
Yes,
Going
yes,
forward,
I've got it set up now. I try to use a little strategy and save money so that I can, you know, if there is anything, I can go ahead and do one or two projects that there are. The biggest thing is keeping the crusher out ahead of us, keeping material. That's the best thing the county has. We have, you know, our material is available and, it's close to most of our projects.
I have one other question. So the existing paved roads that we have now, any idea rough percentage on what percent will have to be addressed or repaved, or our paved roads that we have now pretty good shape?
Most of our paved roads now, we've kept up on our maintenance, our chip seals and stuff like that. We've got some that I hope to address this summer, that will put a top on them, which will hold them for another 10 to 15 years. We're in pretty good shape. That's why we're reaching out and trying to do more. We've got the equipment, we've got the ability and stuff to do these and make these improvements. I just need to be able to
Sure.
have a little vision and go out ahead and get everything prepped and ready out ahead of time.
I didn't realize some of the gravel roads were in that dire need. I just thought you had to haul a little more rock in once in a while, but the base, everything.
Yes,
There,
yeah,
it's
most-
permanent and it's
Yeah,
They're just wore
degrading.
out.
They're degrading.
yeah, they're
You know-
degrading. We've hauled hundreds of thousands of yards of gravel through the years out onto these roads, and our equipment's getting bigger. Yeah, they're driving faster.
Sure.
The material just leaves.
Is it locked down, Martin?
No,
Oh,
he's
okay,
fine.
all right, okay.
Yeah.
So we're not looking at paving roads where you're gonna go down 5 miles and you got one person on that 5 mile road.
No, I tried to put together where it's going to help agriculture and multiple landowners. Plus, it will save us on maintenance. You know, we've got roads that you grade them, and then just with traffic and the way the roads are configured, they just go bad. You've driven.
Well, they're on a rocky
Yes,
bluff.
yeah,
and so
you know,
there's no-
90-degree corners and stuff like that, so trying to fix them a piece at a time.
And I'm not gonna say anything I haven't told Frank before when he's been in my office, that I've been around long enough to see roads get
Destroyed,
paved.
Yeah.
And then fall completely apart, go back to gravel.
Yeah.
And now are paved again, so. And a lot of our concern back then was, and we policed ourselves because we had to drive them,
Mhm.
is staying off the roads while, you know, the frost comes out of the ground or whatever. But it's like
Yeah.
are we gonna have an issue where we have to stay off those roads? Cause
That's what, hopefully I can stay a step ahead of all of that and get everything fixed so that isn't an issue if we pave them. Some of those roads are just, you know, we've been fixing drainage. It's a maintenance thing. Once you get the maintenance done and get it ready, then you throw the pavement on it, and then it's a permanent fix then.
well, I don't disagree. It's nice to have
Yeah.
a paved road versus but
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't paving everything just because and
No.
limited people
Yeah.
on it, cause I can think of roads that, you know, you go a long ways and there's one little farm.
Yeah.
Clear out
Yeah,
at the end.
no,
We think everybody in Gillum County is just as important as anybody else. It doesn't matter where you live or how far out you live. If you're renting a house or you're a farmer, it doesn't matter. The roads are important and they have an awful lot to do with the economy of our county. It's very important. We gotta have good roads and the committee has emphasized and Dewey knows, has always been, when we pave a road, do it permanently. We're not gonna go back and have to do it again. And it's gonna cost a lot of money, but it's cheaper in the long run.
Infrastructure,
Yes.
our infrastructure. And through some of our county college education and AOC education, and anytime there's a road, topic, we're told that it's cheaper to, pave a road and maintain it than it is to maintain a gravel road.
In the meantime, the road department is getting all of our gravel roads prepared for payment by, you know, getting wider and whatever needs to be done.
Always room for improvement.
Okay. We'll be talking about the budget
Yeah.
and you'll be talking to the road commissioner.
We feel that, besides the budget, there should be a fixed sum of money that's dedicated to the road department every year, no matter what. Because you can't predict everything.
Yeah.
And it might stop some progress in the road department because of a piece of equipment or something like that, that he needs to be able to fall back on.
Well, and I think the ODOT funding's way up in the right now.
It is, yeah. Yeah. And if we lose even a portion of that, will hurt.
So much depends on the
Can
weather.
be
Yeah.
Gotta be able to work when we can. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have update from Finance Department, Brooklyn Griffith, Finance Director.
Thank you. Brooklyn Griffith, Finance Director, Gillum County, here to provide my update. I guess I'll just provide a brief update on what I don't like to see myself over here, Anya. I'm screaming at myself. Was this department, the finance department was created in July of 2023 as a new department. We hired a finance director at that time who was here until I think May was the official exit of the past finance director, May of 2024. At that time when I came on, it was just Leah and I in the entire county court. So a group of 5, it was down to the 2 of us there for a couple weeks. Which just right off the bat led to a very steep learning curve, which I think I adapted to with civility and tenacity and confidence and a lot of experience-based learning. Definitely. Constantly learning something new the last 8 months, discovering something new, unearthing something new, having a new scenario present itself. We've worked through many firsts, I guess, in these last 8 months, especially with appointed judge and appointed commissioner, once they became actuals as well. They began transitioning to payroll programs in December of 2023, which it's called PayPro, kind of irrelevant, but that's our third party that we utilize. That in itself came with many challenges that we're still working through, from them being like an East Coast company, so 3-hour delay, to just the import issues we've been having into our old accounting program, CHABS, which has now just fed into our new accounting program, Cassell. But I also really love PayPro. I think it has a lot of positives. It's simplified payroll from my understanding, which has also allowed for better time tracking of employees. PayPro does file our federal and state quarterly taxes, but other than that, it's within the finance department to process monthly payroll, as well as the department heads that oversee their employees. Overall, I think that the move to it's a web-based payroll program was a great decision for the court. I think that's been a good move. I do not want to go backwards to paper timesheets. I think that PayPro is a great program overall, and we're just, as with any transition to a new program, it's still only been a year that we've been in there, so little things will pop up, but We've also hired 10 new employees, so we can do all of our terminating and hiring in PayPro as well, which has made for a smooth process, I guess, for me, having 10 employees brought on in the last 8 months. It's been very user-friendly. Aside from PayPro, they also began a transition with accounting softwares in September, I believe, of 2023. And that is something we're still working through. So that's been about an 18-month-long process. As many are aware, for the recall, it was kind of put on the back burner. The past finance director was working through that, and then at her exit, we just had so many other things we were working through that the transition to Cassell didn't happen until the fall of 2024 / this winter. We did our live training just this last month, so we're in Cassell now. We still have access to Chavs, and I think I'm just keeping that as like a safety net, but we're 100% in Cassell. We'll be doing our budget out of Cassell. Everything, our accounts payable, all of our general ledger, our reconciling, all of that will come on Cassell, which I think it has a lot more user functionality to it than our past accounting program did. I can pull a lot more of my own reports, whereas before I was having to go to Chavs to get an Excel version of a document, which really hinders a lot of things because they have their own jobs that they're doing. They're not at our beck and call. So it could take 2, 3, a week plus to get just a single Excel version of a document. Cassell, we got all sorts of file formats we can export, which is really nice. Plus just a large variety of reports that we can get and other functionalities. They have a document management program that we're going to look into for some of our leases and agreements, which is just included in our general, whatever that would be called, profile, our system. Let's see, anything else in Cassell?
So I have a question for
Yeah.
you. So now with Cassell, are we able to have the departments be able to go in and look?
That's called Connect Online. We have not got to that stage yet, but yes, that will be an end result product. The departments will have web-based access to, we can like narrow it down to all departments, or they can have access to only their department. They'll be able to go in there and look at their budget comparisons to actuals. There's a lot more steps to it, but I think that's our first step. But we could get to the point where they're submitting their invoices through there and we're just approving them. They're doing everything in the back end. But right now, them being able to access their budgets whenever they want to will be a big kudos. Yes.
That'll be helpful.
I'm looking at Todd in the back of the room.
Yeah.
And I think I already talked to you about this, but the payroll and stuff, that transition is way better than what.
We're hoping. It unfortunately has not been a very smooth process whatsoever. That's all I'll really say to that. We're still working to get entries into Cassell, but I met with Cortland this morning. Of course, again, we're at their whim. He was out all last week once we had our live training, so we weren't able to push as hard as we wanted to get our payroll entries entered. But I think after yesterday and this morning, we're all on the same page and we're moving forward with payroll. And I think that, yes, in the future, once we get caught up, it'll be a seamless process because I can just, have templates. It'll just import it, and code it how I want to, but
I will
Just
just say,
working
having
through that.
gone through the county transition in the prior position, it's a huge undertaking
yes.
because for you were new. Plus, you had too little to no resources. You had an old system that you didn't know. Most people that are making a accounting transfer know the old system.
Yeah.
Then you're transitioning to a new system under difficult circumstances, plus doing your regular job. You're doing all of it. And I just want to commend you, for getting us through this because special person just hang in there and you have.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not one to back down from
I know.
difficulties. So it's been a great learning process through these last 8 months. Absolutely. We had our financial audit for 24, which began in September. We have received another extension that was filed on behalf of our auditors through the end of February. That came Monday morning when I came into the office. I still have not heard back from our auditors, though I have called and emailed. So I do not know the reasonings why, or what they may need from us to finish that. But as of now, we have been approved for that extension from the state through the end of February. With that audit, we ended up selecting new auditors for this fiscal year, which just comes, I think, at any time with its own challenges because they're wanting to dig into a lot more things. So this financial audit that we just did for 24 was extensively more in depth than prior audits. So that has added another level to it as well. I think we are expecting some non-compliance items, but we're just moving forward with those in a positive light, in developing policies and procedures that are recommended to us from those financial audits and doing better. We've had additional audits and reviews as well. I had a safe audit this week, actually yesterday. We were selected for that, so that's been a fun learning process as well. And then we're beginning to work on our FY26 budget. We're hoping to have actuals to comparisons to the department heads this next week. And then they get a few weeks to provide us narratives and get their sheets together, with our first budget meeting being in the beginning of April.
We had our meeting, we had just a sit down.
Yeah.
With the finance department and the administrative department just to talk about the budget process and how we want the budget to look, and potentially adding the narrative and making sure that we understand. We have a great foundation for relationships, so everybody can work together well so that the whole process is smooth.
Yeah.
So
I think that actually goes right into my next bullet point, is that over the last 8 months, I think I've worked really hard to build those relationships with our departments and the employees, continuously offering an open door policy, being there for questions, concerns, ideas. I'm a very open person and I love collaboration and I love teamwork. And I think we focused a lot of that these last 8 months is building back up those relationships that may have been lost with the prior administration or finance director. We're constantly working to bring efficiencies to the county with updating our electronic forms. Our accounts payable are now accessible to all the department heads on our shared network drive. Those are just scanned in as I process them, so that if department has, wondering if an invoice has been paid or they just want a copy of that invoice, that's easily accessible to them. Been working on the employee tracking, updating the employee handbook is something on our future, and then just bringing clarity to policies and procedures that are kind of just gray. It's been a big project these last few months. I also just want to take the time to thank 2 individuals specifically that have been instrumental in my success here at the county, because without their guidance or expertise, I would not have been, I would have suffered tremendously and not have been as successful as I have been able to be. They answered endless questions for me or bounced off ideas, which would be Ellen Wagner, the county clerk, and then Nathan Hammer, our treasurer. I owe a great deal to their guidance and knowledge and patience, definitely their patience with me over the last 8 months. So definitely wanted to give a shout out to those 2 individuals, plus the judge and commissioners for giving me this opportunity to prove myself here at the county. I know that like coming into this position, there was a lot of contention. But I want everyone to know that I never felt belittled or uninvited or downgraded or anything like that. I think that the county has a really great team of people. I felt nothing but just graciously welcomed, I guess, into this group. So that's was a big concern for me, I guess, initially. And I'm just happy to announce that I never felt that. And I think we all really get along well here. And I appreciate the team that the county has, and under your guys' leadership, I really appreciate that. So I feel like the last 8 months, maybe I've just constantly been circling or slowly dredging, but I'm finally seeing the light at the end of a very, very long tunnel. So I'm excited for what 2025 has to bring and what we're able to do once we work through everything we've been working through these last 8 months. So any questions or?
Yeah, and right in the
Any other
middle of that, you had the worst fire season that you.
Yes, there's also that. I am rostered to our state fire team, one of our state fire teams. We have 3 type 1 incident management teams, and I was afforded the opportunity to remain with that. So I appreciate those opportunities you guys have given me as well. Because that was a pretty crazy fire season. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for your effort and everything you've done. And, I think we're very fortunate to have somebody of your caliber and work ethic, and just appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you.
It's been a
Yep.
little amount to go up to.
Yeah. Yep. Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks.
Consent agenda 5.0. Items on the consent agenda are consider minutes, January 15th town hall meeting and January 8th and 22nd regular meetings. Consider approval of bills pending review.
I did have a comment about that, sorry.
Oh, excuse me.
I did have a comment about the bills that I wanted to address with you guys really fast. That's a monthly bill approval. Are you guys okay with that? Just the first meeting of the month. It'll be the transactions for the previous 30 days, anything over $500. You'll see that there, and it has like your guys' approvals on the last page. I think
Yes.
that follows with the worst statute.
Anyone else
And then,
have?
of course, they're online. But this will get posted online after the first meeting.
That's great. Thank you. And the other item on the consent agenda is the readjustment on the agenda, moving down, pro tem justice of peace appointment from Carrie Peter, justice of the peace.
I think the only thing I would like to say is our auto care business is on the, bills
Okay,
to review, but you're reviewing them and
right.
we're just okay, you reviewing them.
Okay. Do you think we should get an opinion on that at all? And figure out how we should handle it? Because it could happen to Commissioner Wilkins too.
Yeah, it might be a good.
Just so we have, written guidance, and then we can keep it in the county files, and it can be passed on if other commissioners are put in the same position. To be sure that you're covered if I'm covering the bills, if we're voting on the consent.
Well,
agenda.
and the other thing to that is if there's one that is pertains to you,
Right.
whether or not one of us is,
Mhm.
needs to review
Right.
it. So,
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah, we'll-
I always want to make sure I brought that up,
Right.
it's on the record.
Anya, can we look into that with the government ethic, just see if we can get a written statement from them? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda, including the justice and peace appointments?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right. Next item, unfinished business. Consider approval of award of contract for Cedar Springs Road relocation engineering service, Dewey Kennedy. Okay? Come on up.
Okay, we met this morning and scored the two firms did. The scoring was fairly close, but we chose Anderson Perry. Was, pretty much unanimous with the group to do
This
the
is road
engineering.
committee.
The road committee.
No, it was myself, Commissioner Wilkins, Anya, and Brian Johnson.
Okay, is there any discussion on this topic or anything you wanted to tell us? I know that at the last meeting, we just needed to further research procedure.
No, I would just like permission to get with them, and I'd like it to be negotiated in 4 phases. First would be the environmental and the historical, to make sure that there's no stumbling blocks, anything that's gonna get in our way to do the project. If that's all right, then we would do the land survey, the right-of-way survey, construction staking, and then the final project at completion.
Okay,
Question, please.
any questions? We have a proposed motion. I don't know if you had other questions first.
I don't have any Anybody else? With that, then, I'll move to award the Cedar Springs Lane relocation contract to the top ranked proposer, Anderson Perry, contingent upon successful negotiation of the contract to delegate contract negotiation authority to the Gillum County Roadmaster.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Stewie.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Bus Barn. New business. We have consider approval of award of bid for construction of the Gillum County Bus Barn. Wow, we're finally here. This is great.
Yeah. Todd Lake, Gillum County Transportation Director.
Make sure you speak up. Thank you.
Right. Good morning, Jeff Schott, over Consulting Group. So I guess we'll tell you where we are, kind of an update on the project. So we received bids, I think January 29th. We had 6 bidders on the project, which was remarkable. I haven't seen 6 bidders on a project like that for 12 or 13 years. So, and the low bidder was Kirby Nagelhout Construction Company, and their base bid was, I think, $1,325,000. And then there was an additive alternate for $9,600, which was for 2 level 2 electric vehicle charging stations that the court had requested be added to the project. And since that was kind of outside the scope of the ODOT grant, that would be something that would be picked up directly by Gilliam County. That's why we had it as a separate line item in the bid. So Kirby Nagelhout did the Conde Grade School. They've done a number of projects. We issued a RFI that we do to satisfy one of the Oregon public contracting laws to make sure that they are the lowest responsible bidder, which they responded to. And so then we sent out a memo that indicated that we recommended award. And then yesterday at the direction of Judge Patnode, I sent out a notice of intent to award to everybody that had bid the project. And the reason we do that, there's a provision in Oregon law that says that there's a 7-day waiting period that you have between the time that you have a notice of intent to award and then you can actually award the bid, right? So what we're asking for here today is to approve the award of the project contingent on there not being a protest to the bid. And the reason for that is that for some reason there was an irregularity in the bid, or one of the bidders thought that, you know, there was some reason why that the bid wasn't valid, then they would come back and then we would have some discussion and sort that out, which I've actually never been through before. I hope to never be through. So anyway, I don't think it'll come up. I think everything was above board on the bid. So I think that's going to be the motion that's in front of you. And then moving on from there, once we get the notice of award put out, then we will issue that, and Judge Patnode will sign that, and we'll send that to the contractor, and then we'll put together the contract documents. Actually, we're going to be putting together the contract documents this week and next week in the meantime. And we'll get those out to the contractor. The contractor will sign those. They will come back. Judge Patnode will sign those countersign the contracts, and the project will probably begin. And the date of the time the clock begins on the project will probably be March, I think 3rd. I think it's the first Monday in March is what I anticipate. And then there's going to be, I can't remember how many days we had on the project, but I'm sure the project will continue through probably October, November time. Anybody have any questions?
Oh, that's great.
Okay, as far as the other things that's going on, we have planning done, septic systems done. We've submitted it to building codes. Building codes has not given us the building permit yet, which I'm not gonna push them on that until next week. So I think the project is moving ahead. I'm sure we'll be back to talk about it, so.
Right.
Anyway.
Good.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I move to award the construction contract for the Gillum County Transportation Bus Barn to Kirby Nagelhout Construction Company based on their bid dated January 29th, 2025 in the amount of $1,334,600, including the base bid and additive alternative number 1. This award is contingent on there being no protest to the award
for 7 days following the issuance of a notice of intent to award pursuant to Oregon local public contracting rules. Should there be a protest to the notice of intent to award, this award shall be nullified.
I will second that motion.
It's been
Sorry, by the
moved
way.
and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries.
All right, thanks. That was a mouthful.
Now-
Long motion, maybe a run-on sentence there.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, that covers that. Now are you going to address the next item?
Yeah,
On
might as well.
childcare?
Yeah, might as
Okay.
well. Okay.
I'll allow you to go directly into 7.2, consider scope of work change order request for additional services for Condon Early Learning Center proposal.
Okay, so update on the early learning. So the early learning center project is out for bid. We had our mandatory walkthrough last week. I think it was on Thursday. We had 10 general contractors show up for it, which for reference, we had 7 general contractors show up for the bus barn project. So that was good. I mean, clearly there's people are looking for work out there, which is very different than what we've seen for the last 5 or 6 years here. So I'm asking for a change in scope to my contract. And my contract is with the county to do the design phase work on that project. And that goes back to some, I don't remember which program it was, but it was some COVID related money. And there was able to earmark that federal money to pay for the design services on the project. And I think that's also covering MFIA's contract, and it covered the geotech and some other design professional services for the project. The reason I'm asking for a change on this is we're into the bid phase of the project, which I had specifically excluded from my contract with the county because at that time it was going to be turned over to, or it was anticipated to be turned over to Condon Early Learning Center. At that point, that has not happened. And so what we're trying to do is get through the bid process because the project is not fully funded at this time. There is an anticipation that if we have this real number that we can go forward and that we can get, or the people that are going after the money have a much better opportunity of getting the funding that they need to complete the project. So that's why I'm asking for a change on this project. Project bids right now, I have it, I think it officially, the ad in the paper said the 19th. I pushed that to the 25th, just February, which I think is a Tuesday. It is a Tuesday. And I did that just because it was too tight. We were a little bit late getting our drawings out. And there's been a number of questions that have come up. We're issuing our first addendum on it tomorrow. So anyway.
So with this, I guess my concern is that moving, but they don't have their full funding as of yet.
Correct.
So you award a contract to do this. Is there a time frame that they can?
Well, I guess if you're asking kind of what the next steps are and what will happen with it, like, what are the potential outcomes of it? Well, one potential outcome is they don't do the project. That's one potential outcome. I think another potential outcome is they potentially look at making the project smaller. That's possible to do. There'd be some rework in the design if we did that. So there's a cost associated with that, getting cost down. I think the Learning Center is pretty confident that they think that there's additional grant funding out there to fund the project at this point. So what we're trying to do is just get through the bid phase so that we can get them a bid number. Because, I've come up with what my cost opinion is for the project, but those are, I wouldn't say notoriously unreliable, but sometimes they've not, they're my best guess. They're opinions. And so like, for example, in the bus barn, my cost opinion was like 1.45 million. It came in at 1.325. So, and for this project, I can't remember what I have, but it's around $2.5 million for that project. So, they're looking at what they can do. And there is some other people that my understanding have committed funding. If they can get a little bit more funding, then they're going to get a bunch more funding for the project. So I think that there's a good shot at doing it. And from my perspective at this point, we're going to carry this through the bid phase one way or the other. So that they can get a bid and try to get the project done. I think it's a good project.
So the $10,000 additional in
Yep.
change of scope is all that's being requested,
That's
correct?
correct. Yes,
To
that's
get
correct.
you where you need
And
to
that's
go.
just for my contract. That's
Okay.
not for any construction or
Right,
anything
right.
like that.
Okay, so my next question is, when will we be expending that money? Because I'll just let you answer that, and then I'll tell you why I asked. When will we get that bill?
Probably March.
Okay, because there's a deadline to spend that COVID.
Right,
Because we didn't further obligate, we had to obligate the COVID money, as unspent by December 31st. We have other uses for it within our
Right.
general fund, that unspent dollars, but I just want to make sure that
right.
we can get, if we go with this, that we can still utilize the COVID dollars and that it would only be the 10,000.
Yeah, that's my
Okay.
intent. Yeah, that would
would
get
be-
us through that would be I'm guessing my last invoice for that would be the end of March.
Okay. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I also just, I think we should track this because we've helped one entity on one end of the county. And we should track these expenses. Yes, they were COVID dollars, they were Gillum County dollars, they were public funds. And we just need to be cognizant that there may be other people coming forward that we're fair in our, nothing with you. I'm just
Right.
generally
Sure,
making
no,
a
I-
statement about that for future reference.
But this is out of the code.
Yeah, it would qualify because Pillar has already been approved. There's a process with these COVID funds that I believe it's your, tax ID number has to be approved and you have to qualify. They're already in the loop for that. So as long as that we get the bill before May 1st, it would qualify.
So was there, and we don't have a date for.
No, so it would just be,
I moved to approve the scope change request from Pillar Consulting on the Common Early Learning Center in the amount of $10,000 increase.
yes. Is there a second?
Do we need to state COVID money in that or not? Or,
You can,
I just thought that might help.
it would be ARPA funds.
Yeah, it will be expended from the COVID fund.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
okay. It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the topic? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Where is the event center?
Oh, okay. I was glad you asked.
Okay.
So the event center is the next one coming up. So we anticipate that's gonna go out around the end of the month. We're working on the structural piece of that. And then the other piece that we're talking about or that we've been working on has to do, and there's some changes on this too, but Chris Fitzsimmons, the sheriff department's going out for some money for a generator to make this part of I'm not sure what it is, some FEMA grant, and we're making some changes. Part of the scope of the project for the event center is it's not just the event center, but there's a bunch of utilities and stuff around it to kind of make everything work. And one of them is to make sure that we set this thing up so we put a generator in easily that powers everything that we want to power it. And also in mind that there's some thought that in the future, they may want to replace that office area there. So we're working on that, and we've worked with Columbia Basin we've kind of come up with a plan about how they're going to redo some of their primary transmission stuff up there to make this project and the bus barn work better and improve some of their infrastructure as well. So that's what we're focusing on right now.
Because I think as part of that grant is also the air conditioning in the
That's correct.
buildings to.
So that grant that Chris is going after, I think Chris and Corey Michael are going after. So what it would do is, as I understand it, I haven't actually reviewed it, but there'd be a generator that would power the event center, the exhibit halls, and the office or the new office. And at this point, it might be the office too, because we're gonna have to run an extra conduit over there to pick that up. And then there would be air conditioning in the exhibit hall, and then we would also insulate the ceiling in the exhibit hall to make the air conditioning work better. And then it might provide some heat, although if it got real cold, those heaters wouldn't work real well. But if it's like down to 20 degrees, it would also provide some heat in those areas. So if there was a disaster, that would be an area. And this was some money, I think, that, has come up. I don't think, if there's a direct relationship, but with the fire that we had last year, because that was
Yes.
used for a center there.
Yeah, because they had to bring the big air conditioner from the barns down.
Right, right. So we're trying to put some extra power capacity in for that as well. Okay.
Okay.
Any other
Thank
questions?
you.
All right, thank you.
What will you do when you get all three of these projects done?
I've got some other stuff. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is 7.3, consider appointment of cultural trust coalition members. This changed just this morning, and thanks to our trustee assistant Anya, she quickly did a whole bunch of work this morning to get us ready for this meeting, so. This was one of the things. So we received a late, I shouldn't say it was late, it just wasn't received, by the time we did the agenda, the, person who was interested in the cultural coalition. And that was Rochelle Bennett. She was the third person. So we need two members. Leave it up to you to make a motion. We have letters of interest from Jody Gentry, Donald Delow, Rhonda Delow, and Rochelle Bennett.
So I'll just ask, is there a limit on how many members they can have on the coalition? Or is it got a window like 5 to 7 or 6? 6, so we can only have 6?
I don't know if that's the thing they can go about that. That's what's written in the course of these.
Because the only reason I'm saying that is because the Cultural Trust Coalition has been kind of a revolving door, and I think they've had times when they hardly had anybody, and then they had, then they're full.
Right.
I have a hard time turning somebody away that
Right.
potentially.
Agreed. I thought about this too, and I thought, we have a whole bunch of other committees too. We could say, as an alternative to, we need you. It's just that we can always point to, but if there is a way to appoint all three, I don't know if that's what we want to do. Okay. Our next meeting's it's just 2 weeks away. We'll wait. Okay, we'll just look into it and wait and then find out. I'm happy 3 people were interested.
I know, yeah, there's been a few times when.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
Miranda was always like, I'm still looking.
Yeah.
I'm still looking.
It's
So-
very difficult. A lot of, counties or a lot of entities, it's done different ways. Some is run through the county, some is an independent, nonprofit that manages the cultural coalition. So I don't know the history about why Gillum County has done it. Maybe there wasn't someone who was going to do this. But there's a pot of money that's available for small cultural projects, and I think that's why we want to keep it going. In some way, it may change into a different entity at some point in time. We can't keep this up. We're also utilizing county staff to do this, and that's the other thing, that when bandwidth becomes short, it becomes one of those things that we would maybe find another way. So. All right, we'll just table that then until next meeting. Consider appointment of county representative to the Lower John Day Area Council on Transportation.
Okay, that's me. So somebody
Okay,
else can
so
do it.
this was brought to our attention. Did you want to just give the background, Anya, on it?
I just found out we took my number because, it's currently passionate disappointed because the lead with the alternate duty. And so obviously we need to replace that position, so.
Okay. I recommend any other discussion?
No.
I recommend the county court appoint Commissioner Leah Watkins to the Lower John Day Council on Transportation through December 31st, 2026, and that is my motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right. Last item on the agenda. 7.5, discussion regarding right-of-way application for Cardillo Devco 17 LLC. Okay, I'm gonna start by making a statement. This has been going on for a few months, this project, discussion. And as time has gone on, I've learned more about it. And how it interconnects with my own personal, business. So I must declare an actual conflict of interest in this case, because Odyssey Wind has reached out to my husband and I about offering us a land lease for the project that directly would have impact with this right-of-way application. And my husband and I also lease land that these proposed towers would be upon. So the right thing for me to do is to step away. This is why we have 3 county commissioners, and for me not to comment or vote on this matter. So I'm gonna turn it over to Commissioner Wilkins, who is the road department commissioner, so that he can take it from here.
Yeah, I still have a lot of questions and concerns, and, do we know who's on? I'm not sure who's all on, but,
Carterville and Oakland, Steve Conlon, Jerry, this,
okay, I just,
Sean Bell.
I mean, this easement, I've asked previously to make sure that maybe affected landowners were gonna have been contacted and affected. I've also asked if there was a current project permitted, because I guess I feel like we were presented this and we're just supposed to give this to them. And I think there's a lot of things that we need to consider and take a look at. And I just think we have a lot more information to find out to make the decision on this. I know they are wanting this, but I'm not ready to move forward and make a decision on this. I think we still have a lot of questions. I want to make sure the landowners that are going to be affected where this project is, want to make sure we have a good communication out there. And I think we need that to make a decision. So,
Commissioner Wilkins, would you like us to be heard at this point, or do you not want?
absolutely, any communication, I've had, read your email and, but yeah, I think, we need to get any communication, anybody wants out there, any concerns. Yeah.
Well, I would think I'm not opposed to listening to what you have to say, but I think it would be a good idea to be able to invite the landowners and the wind company that's potentially doing this project in the same meeting, so that maybe they could answer questions we're not, prepared to answer. I read your letter, but, I think Sean's, he's on, but I think he was traveling
They're all on, Sean, Carl, and all on. They're all watching. So,
Yeah, I totally agree.
Sean, is he?
Yep,
I
I'm
thought
here.
this-
Go ahead.
Is that something that would work for you guys to have it on the agenda on a meeting when landowners can ask questions and you guys can answer them? And I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I think that we'll discuss this internally. First of all, we received a letter this morning from Commissioner Wilkins, and so we're in the process of digesting that right now and kind of evaluating how we can engage with our internal civil engineering group and electrical group. So we'll have a more formal response to that letter here shortly. I don't know exactly when, but shortly. And secondly, I don't think that it would be a problem to maybe do a work session with property owners and us and other interested parties. But I'll defer to Annabelle on that.
Coming to you live from Colorado because I couldn't make it there
There
this
she
week.
is.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Can't hear.
it's on her end, maybe.
Can you hear me?
Barely. You speak really loud for that.
How about now?
Right.
Anya, can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go.
That's better, Annabelle. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yes, I would echo what Sean said, that we're happy to do a work session. I would point out that I think, the point of what we were pursuing here with the county road right of way is to stay exclusively within the county road right of way. So we are happy to talk with landowners about concerns and of course go through all that process. And also we know that the landowners bordering the county road have already signed exclusive leases with another developer. So that was our reasoning for pursuing the county road right of way. And we would plan to stay exclusively within it. So I know that there are view shed impacts and like what you see driving down the road looks different. So we're happy to talk about that. But, for the court, you can tell us what we need to do to continue through the process, but and we just got your letter today, Commissioner Wilkins, so we'll, like Sean said, work through the different points and information that you wanted. And yeah, there was something else. We are also working with EDPR. We're talking with them still about an agreement to work together, and we're going to meet with them here soon. So I just want you to know that from our perspective, we are collaborating with them and also in talks with Brookfield about how we can all work together. The one issue to be aware of with some of the points in your letter, Commissioner Wilkins, is that by requesting exact locations of where poles will be, that would require significant design that costs a ton of money and time. And we have been signing leases with landowners, but that I just have a little bit of initial concern on that requirement before granting the permit. because we need to figure out if we have the permit before we can spend a ton of money in engineering to figure that out. So I guess is one question I have coming out of it is your letter a condition of approval or just a request of information? Because that would help me.
Yeah, I think we stated that as, we're just requesting information to, you know, and this does impact landowners. And you said that, I guess, like I say, it just seems like this is kind of went about backwards. I would have thought that getting a group of together people would have been first. But we have some affected parties, and I guess I'm confused. You said you have some signed agreements, but I'm not sure. You know, as a commissioner, you know, like I say, new commissioner, I just want to make sure that we're involving people that could possibly be impacted by this. And
Yes.
with the way
Yeah.
this started out, I don't believe that has happened.
I mean, I'd like to clarify that the process is that you submit an application, and so that's what we did because it's between the county and us. At the same time, to be clear, the leases that we've signed with landowners are for parcels within our project area for wind leases. This is
Okay.
something different. So, I'm sorry if it seems like we came in late, but from our perspective, we researched how the process went and followed it as best we could. Coming to you before we submitted, we spoke with Dewey, the roadmaster, and yeah, we didn't mean to, you know, sneak by or anything. Just want to make that clear.
Well, like I say, I think, you know, information is, more information is needed, and I can understand where you're coming from with, I mean, I don't think anybody's asking, well, where's the pole exact wire, but we need to have that communicated, because there is potentially impact to the landowners, and I just want to make sure that that is being addressed and everybody's on the same page, and for us to educate ourselves on making a decision on this.
Of course, you got it. Sean, do you have anything to add?
No, just to reiterate what Annabelle said, that we're happy to, you know, we're in this to be transparent, and we want to work with property owners in the county to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward and being good neighbors. So that kind of goes without saying as far as the way that Cordelio and Navitas develop. And secondly, Commissioner Wilkins, to your point about this being backwards, we were, you know, I realize that the county, this is probably the first application of this nature that the county's seen. So I understand that, but I do think that just in filing the application, it is the impetus to start the conversation. And we're happy to provide additional information to the best of our ability. And to kind of elaborate on what Annabelle said earlier, this is, you know, we're very early stage in this process. And so our design criteria hasn't been identified yet. So we don't know exactly where turbines are going to be located. We don't have layouts for that. We don't know the size of the project. So we don't know exactly what the structures are going to look like in the, you know, in the transmission corridor. However, I'm certain that we can provide some preliminary engineering and potential locations. But I think that's going to require us working hand in hand with the roadmaster and with the county and with other, you know, stakeholders.
I understand that, Sean, and you're in the you know, preliminary stage. I get that. You currently don't have any permitted projects though. You're working on them, and I think everybody wants to see growth if it can happen, but I guess I just want to make sure that all parties that are affected are involved and have input.
Agreed. And maybe what we do, Commissioner, is that maybe you or the other others on the court, we get together and decide, you know, let's just have a work session and what that looks like and who's invited, and we can try and answer everybody's questions.
Right. because you're working on options too, and I would assume that options for your projects, options for your, how you're gonna get your transmission, I mean, yeah, I think that's, we just wanna make sure everything's weighed and communicated and then see where everybody's at.
Yep. And also, this piece of the project is part of a much larger permit application that will be filed with FSEC. So this, we're early in that process too, but just to make crystal clear, we will obtain all necessary permits from all the jurisdictional bodies that is required for a project of this nature. And so this would only, this piece would be a part of that much larger permit package.
That's all I have right now. Anybody, somebody else want to speak?
I stated in my email to you all what my primary issues are. I don't know if Mike wants to speak to it.
That is you,
Oh.
I would like to hear.
I-
Kind of rough the first.
Well, I think it's, do you want me to come forward?
Yeah, that way they can hear it. I don't know if Sean and Ann, Bell can hear you.
And just as a point of information, when you're back here, it's really hard to hear this person.
Oh, the one
Thank you.
facing us.
Yes. I mean,
Thank you.
especially if it's Brooke who talks kind of
Oh,
quiet.
sure,
I
yeah.
missed everything she said. I
Thank
couldn't
Okay,
hear.
thank you.
turn around and watch the video.
Turns.
Right, that's what I should have had it up on my phone and watching it, right?
Yeah.
So Marta Michaelo, 69698 Barnett Road, Arlington. I guess my biggest concern is those telescoping towers, 60-foot easement. Barnett Road is extremely curvy, or they're wanting to put it between Lydas and Cedar Springs. I learned something new today, which I had no idea, is that the actual wires on the towers have to be inside the easement. So what that means is more poles. So like the big curve that's in front of Davis's house, I mean, that's a big old curve. That's 90 degrees at least. And how many poles would it take to go around that one curve to keep the wires within the easement? But anywhere you go, all the way up Barnett, it's extremely curvy. So anytime there's a turn, they're gonna have to put another pole in so it's just gonna be a mass of huge metal telescoping poles. They're like 250 feet tall. And I just have a hard time even imagining it when while the easiest way to go is to, do it in a straight line. But in order for them to do it in a straight line, they have to work with the landowners and the leaseholder in order to make that happen. Now, certainly it must be doable. I know that they haven't really reached out. I'm not an adjacent landowner. I live adjacent, but I'm not a landowner adjacent to it. But there's a lot of research that has to be done, and putting poles up in that we get flash floods. That whole canyon, Barnett Road runs. What happens? Where do the poles go? Do they withstand flash floods? What kind of foot has to go underneath them? That's going to be blasted. It's bedrock most of the way up through there. Where does it go? And can it withstand flash floods? Can it withstand anything? So just is concerning. I think the landowners, part of the cost of doing business for Cordelia is to pay the landowners for the easement across their property. To me, that's the cost of doing business for a for-profit company, which they clearly are. So And I'm with you. I think I want everybody to be successful. Let's figure out how to make it work. Let's figure out how to make it work so that everybody is, happy and that they get what they deserve and the power gets moved and they work in the county. We want them to be here. So that's all I have to say. So, and you do have my letter. I'll give you a copy, Mike. So it is on the website, so.
It's in correspondence.
Yes, it's in correspondence, yeah. So that's it. Thank you for your time.
So I'm Michael Ramsey. My residence is outside of the county. I live in Baker City, but I am the manager of Ramsey Ranch and Company LLC. I just feel that for multiple reasons that Mara has already established, that there has got to be a better access down through there than to follow that county road just because the financial. I mean, basically, you're wanting an easement for nothing. I feel that the county should be held responsible when it comes to this easement. Now, everything that if you turn over the easement, that means you're responsible for the easement. That means when they're in there doing construction, you are responsible for them maintaining and doing what they're supposed to, staying inside the easement. Also, then we have erosion issues. Is the county going to be responsible for making sure that's been done? You're going to have issues with weeds. Somebody's going to have to control the weeds now. And you've created to me, like say, a bad location for it. If you go south of Ramsey Ranch and LLC, the road is fairly straight. It's not that big of an issue south. Going north down to Cedar Springs Lane, like I said, it's a very windy turning road. And you've got a lot of obstacles. And if you put in all these poles, it's going to affect the landowners. There was already mentioned, as one person said, well, you already allowed fiber optics in there. And I'm like, well, fiber optics are all on the ground, they're buried. They're not blocking our view. They're not blocking doing any work on the property. I just feel that there is a lot better location. And I've mentioned this to multiple people, that the old UP Railroad would be a straight line and would not affect property owners or the county road department by using that. I have not seen any input from Sean about trying to see if that is justifiable. It's just been straightforward with the county. So I think there's a lot of things that you have to take in consideration, and you're going to have to, the county yourself are going to be the one that's going to be held responsible for everything. So at that point, the county needs to have its own committee to figure out how all these little incidents are going to occur and who takes care of them. As for the legal part of it, has the county got any legal advice about this, and what does it pertain to that the landowners would like to know?
Yeah, all I know is that our legal counsel has looked at the contract that was proposed. But yeah, I don't have a good answer for it. Like you say, affecting the landowners. It's like I say, I still think there's a lot of things trying to find out about this and to make sure. So yeah, I'd say we're still back.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wanting to see how the process is gonna go. Some landowners did not have any notice of this at all, till just the other day. Some of the landowners are under the lease with them. There's only 2 or 3, I think, that's gonna be crossing through properties that they don't have a lease with already or something. So we just want to be a part of it and see if everything is legally, it can be done, and financially, and does it justify where it needs to be? I feel it doesn't. I think there's better options on the table. And like Marta said, you know, you have companies that are coming in here and trying to make money, but they shouldn't be, I just honestly feel that they shouldn't take advantage of the county. So now that easement, if you allow that easement for them to take that, now you're blocking out an easement that they've consumed that may need to be used by somebody in the county for Columbia Basin, stuff like that.
I
You know,
appreciate
shit,
your concerns and,
Yep.
and, those are good points. So I guess, I don't know, Mr. Watkins, but like I say, I look forward to communicating more with them on this and, I think there's a lot of discussion that needs to happen. I think I feel I'm a ways away from, being able to make a good decision here, so, new commissioner, I just want to make sure, we're taking all the information in that we need to, and everybody's input is affected, going forward.
Okay. So we're just gonna proceed forward with, try to get some kind of a
Well, I
conversation
think,
going.
yeah, I like the idea of a work session and getting people involved, and I think, you know, yeah, I don't think there was, I guess lack of a communication, the communication maybe didn't happen. That's kind of how I feel. I understand they're trying to work for a process and their options, but like I say, we gotta find out some more information and make sure.
And I think they were at a couple different meetings, and I think it's not a matter of communications, it was a matter of, you know, not knowing the questions to ask,
Yeah,
so.
maybe, yeah. So,
That's my personal opinion, is they've been in several meetings, so I think it's unfortunate that they didn't get out to the other landowners that were, so. I see no harm in having a discussion and posing your questions and having them be able to answer them.
well, just like their project development, I mean, it's like, I think you need to look at all options and weigh everything and take everything into consideration, so. I think that's what I wanna make sure happens, so.
Thank you
All
for your
right.
time.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I don't have anything else this time, and. guess we'll wait.
I have some addition, if there's an opportunity for additional comment, I'd like to speak. This is Kimberly Davis with the 4D Ranch. Thank you for the opportunity to comment this afternoon. My brother J.R. Davis is also logged into the meeting today. He and I, along with our brother Phil, own the property at 15323 Cedar Springs Lane. JR is dialed in at this meeting. He's a resident of the county and he's at the house now. We have a couple points to share and expound on the email that we sent that is attached to the agenda. The right-of-way for the proposed monopoles runs through our property. Our property is located on both sides of Cedar Springs Lane. On the map that Sean provided to the court, we are the one landowner on Cedar Springs Lane, from Rock Creek, where Barnett Road ends, and where Cedar Springs begins, to where the project line concludes for the monopoles. On that stretch, for that matter, on all of Cedar Springs, there currently are no power poles or overhead lines of any kind. I think it's also worth noting that monopoles can be as tall as 250 feet. The right-of-way is only 60 feet, and the front door of our ranch house is less than 80 feet from the road. The 4D Ranch is supportive of renewable energy projects in the area and Gillum County as a whole. However, as has been expressed by others, we have concerns and a lot of questions about the proposed use of the right-of-way by a private company without landowner involvement, especially given the proximity to our front door. We have not received any details from Cordelio regarding the use of the right-of-way. As the energy development project is in its infancy, as Commissioner Wilkins has noted, more time will allow all of us to more seriously consider the effects that granting the use of right-of-way will have. Thank you.
Really? I don't have anything else.
Check future agendas.
Guess somebody else on there, yeah. So I guess we'll just continue to get input and move. See where we can come about.
There's, it's important to note too, that there's an FAA approved airport on Cedar Springs.
Okay, have we concluded that topic? Announcements and next meeting. Go ahead, Commissioner Watkins.
I attended the CAPCO meeting at the end of January. And I sure have done other things, but I didn't write anything down this meeting.
Okay, Commissioner Wilkins.
Yeah, I don't have anything, you know, I thought we had a really good town hall. And one's coming up next week, right, 11th in Arlington. Their Creo meeting, February, excuse me, Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is not in October, sorry. And I think there's some meeting at Prineville, I'll be online. But then that's all I have on the agenda before our next meeting, I believe on the 19th.
Right.
And the only thing is, I believe the next Norcore meeting is gonna be on the 20th. And I'll be in Salem, so.
Oh, right.
County College. So
Is Commissioner,
I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure on that date, but I think it's the 20th, third Thursday.
Yeah.
And that's all I have right now.
okay. All right, yeah, we had a really good town hall meeting on Tuesday, February 11th, excuse me, on content. The next town hall is Tuesday, February 11th at the Gromquist Building in Arlington. So it'll be interesting to see how they're similar, different. We're gonna run them the same way with Fairwinds Consulting for Michael facilitating. And I just know that being members of the Connie community and the Arlington community, although they're only 40 miles apart, they sometimes seem to world apart in their needs. So I'm looking forward to it. Legislative session is in full swing. I've been participating in the Eastern Oregon Caucus calls and Eastern Oregon Association of County calls. I believe you may, Commissioner Wilkins, be the designee for the Eastern Oregon Association of County calls, but I've been attending them because you were still working, so you and I can talk about it. I think Commissioner Watkins appeared to, or attended too, so between the three of us until you can get on those calls. They're more frequent right now because of the session. So it's really, the Eastern Oregon Caucus calls are wonderful because Eastern Oregon County courts are talking about their particular issues such as fire mapping, legislation to assist us with that. regarding insurance effects, keeping abreast of that to make sure legislation is going to be in line, not to be harmful for our, local people. Also, I supported fair funding, fair funding legislation. I probably need to talk with you too in a public meeting like this about how are we going to jointly support legislation if one person is on a call and because legislative session needs immediate action when a bill's gonna be heard, that we're on board with that support. So, I need to navigate
Because
that.
they're
and
gonna
talk with
actually
you.
give us the funding they should be giving us in the first place?
Well, on the fair funding?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that's gonna, if it happens, and it seems like there's good momentum behind it, is that Union County Fairgrounds has no water or sewer, and I never knew that at LeGrand. And these fairgrounds have been used as staging areas for the fires, and it's brought light to issues like this, so that can help the fair, and it may help all of the fairs. So-
I sat 2 years ago, at AOC, I sat through the Oregon Fairs, session, and if you look at what we were supposed to be receiving from lottery dollars, we were supposed to be receiving around $250,000 a year, which we are receiving 53. So the
Yeah.
amount that they promised fairs that they were gonna send them is not what they are sending them. And I think, I don't know, I haven't read the legislation, but I think they're trying to make them go back and hold their feet to the fire and actually send the fairs what they were supposed to be sending them in the first place.
Yeah. Gillum County has received, with the assistance of Anya, coordinating, legal guidance on the release of the covenant on the Grain Lab building so that we can, it's coming up this early summer, that we will be free and clear from that, but we need the legal guidance to be sure we could do whatever we want with it. And also, we have a draft agreement with Arden Mills for renewal of that lease. So, attending a Frontier Telenet meeting, this coming Thursday. We have a meeting set up. It's gonna be kind of exciting to see where it goes between Public Health, Conner School District, Prevention Coordinator to talk about starting up a summer program for kids, so that we have a summer program. It's part of the bigger childcare issue, but I don't know how to tackle the bigger childcare issue unless we break it up in chunks and try to take care of parts of it that are imminent, and summer care is imminent. So it was done 2 years ago, it was successful, with people coming together to make it happen, and we're gonna try to reinvent that idea. We have budget committee meeting just among us in the building, talked about that when Brooklyn was, speaking with us and, to get going on that process. We had a compensation committee meeting, which the next meeting will be March 17th. And if either of you are interested in approaching the compensation committee, you will have that opportunity. I think the way we can do that without creating a quorum situation is just leave the room while you're addressing the compensation committee. If you have anything you want to talk to them about. County College, February 20th through the 22nd. There will not be a county college in March, but April, May, and June there will. So we're running a marathon right now, and there's a lot going on. We're doing a feed pre-qualification webinar on February 10th and 18th, and that's for a fiber project. So we're, gearing up to submit the feed, grant application. I met with Waste Management to begin talks about a new host fee agreement and a road use agreement, and, the talks for the conditional use permit have begun. Those will both expire simultaneously on December 31st, so we are, in active talks on that right now. Meeting went very well. Coming to you in the next month to 6 weeks will be a proposed SIP agreement with a public hearing on the Leading Juniper 2B wind tower project, by Avangrid. And, so that'll be an interesting process to go through that for the first time. And we're ready. I think we're prepared. And we have a new DA. His name is Ryan. Rodrigo, I don't know how to say it. Ryan, it has been appointed by the governor's office, and we have a permanent DA. So,
So that takes, the other one was Justice.
Yeah, and he was temporary.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, yep. So, yeah, anything else for the good of the order? Anything else? Okay, no further business. This meeting is adjourned.